What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into another Celtics Talk Weekly post-game show. Oh, the music, that's not supposed to be going on.
Oh boy.
We cut that. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into another Celtics Talk Weekly post-game show. I am your host, Rob Haytayan. Joined with me are my two co-hosts, Brendon Cox and Randy Elfman. Guys, tonight the Boston Celtics fall short and drop their second game of the year, the first one at home. They're now 2-1 on the parquet floor, 118 to 112 to the Golden State Warriors. Guys, it was a back and forth game. The Warriors holding the lead for a majority of the game there. Then the Boston Celtics in that third quarter chipped away and eventually taking the lead in that fourth by as much as 7 points. However, a late surge from Steph Curry and the newly acquired Buddy Hield led the Golden State Warriors to take on the Celtics and win this game. Guys, before we get into kind of the X's and O's of tonight's game, you guys know the drill. Give us your initial thoughts, reactions, and takeaways on the Celtics loss tonight.
Yeah, I thought it was just no doubt about it. We were shorthanded without JB, but the fact is, though, I think second half it was obviously kind of a little bit of a turnaround. We kind of brought it to a close game, and we got our lead back in the fourth quarter. But yeah, I mean, it would have been a nice one to win, obviously, but it was like I just said, we were shorthanded. But yeah, they kind of had that spark in the end for Golden State, so it was kind of just like, and honestly, it was just kind of like who's going to blink first in the end. So it was good effort in the end of the fourth quarter, but yeah, it would have been nice.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not a recipe for success when you go into halftime down 11 points to
Right.
I mean, I don't want to say an underperforming Golden State team. 2023 they underperformed a bit, but I mean, this year they're not going to be an underperforming team. They're going to be I think they're going to be a very competitive team in the West. And going down 11 points to a team like that with firepower on all cylinders, I mean, who would have thought Buddy Hield's knocking down shots like it's 2019 again? I mean, Steph Curry with 26 points. Let's look at his four steals, though. I mean, Steph Curry on the defensive side of things, he was hot too. And I think what it really came down to is the veteran leadership. And we were shorthanded, no Jaylen Brown. I liked Kata's presence on the interior, but I mean, he wasn't a great perimeter. He was not a great perimeter defender today. We had him on Steph Curry for a bit. But yeah, it was the veteran leadership of Golden State and the lack of depth, I think, and productivity from guys like Hauser. We didn't get much from him.
Right.
I mean, we got what, 12, 14 from Kata. That was good. I think Cornette had a tough matchup today. So, I mean, I think the matchups weren't great for us today. And like I said, I think the veteran leadership of Curry just led them, and they kind of just glided the rest of the way after halftime, and we fought back. But ultimately, Golden State just too much firepower to overcome tonight. I mean, let's talk about Moses Moody, right? What a game by him. I mean,
yeah. I mean, like, I'm not too mad about this one. It's always frustrating to lose at home, especially when that opponent's the Golden State Warriors. I think the Boston Celtics did a lot of good things in the second half there, especially in the later half of that third quarter. However, I think that, it was a weird start to the game, and Boston kind of wasn't able to adapt on the fly as well as I would have liked to maybe see them. However, their halftime adjustments were phenomenal. But it didn't happen, I think, quick enough. And then when they did happen, I think there were some shots that got put up that were poor shot selection and kind of gave the Warriors an opportunity to stay in the game. And, I think when you're looking at, a game that's so, slowed pace and low scoring as kind of what we saw up until the second half here, those buckets between, when you're up by 7 really matter. To take that 7-point lead and extend it to a 13-point lead, those 6 points, that margin is really, really important. And if you let the 6 point, swing the other way, the other team's only down by 1. And so that 7-point lead margin, what you do when you're up 7, I think is something that, needs to get looked at when you're the Celtics, and especially tonight. And there was a 3 that I remember Peyton Pritchard put up. It's coming off a screen with about 12 seconds left on the shot clock from, I want to say 35 feet out. And, while, yes, when that goes in, it's a nice shot to make. Wasn't the shot tonight, guys. But, again, let's hop into the player of the game. the first time this man's won it. And I'll tell you what, he has been making some noise for the Boston Celtics this season. Guys, Neemias Queta is tonight's SeatGeek player of the game. Guys, before we talk about Neemias Queta, let's talk about the sponsor of this post-game show this year, SeatGeek. Guys, the Celtics are playing some great basketball despite this loss. It is the perfect time to get you back into the TD Garden. Whether it's a Boston Celtics game or any live event, SeatGeek has you covered for it all. Guys, at checkout, use code Celtics Weekly for $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek, guys, has an amazing process that shows you whether or not the ticket is worth your money. Green means good, red means bad, stay away. We thank SeatGeek so much for sponsoring us this season. Guys, let's talk about Neemias Queta. 14 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks in 28 minutes. Alongside that was yet again a team best plus 13, plus minus, guys, a couple of energy shifting plays there in that third and fourth quarter to give Boston some momentum, heading into the later half of the game. Randy, we talk so much about what the Celtics did with Kristaps Porzingis gone, and we talk about, Kornet and Tillman, and never a thought was Neemias Queta, entering this year. We thought that we might see him at times, but he has looked to really take that next step with the Boston Celtics and has thrived with the absence of Kristaps Porzingis. What do you think Neemias Queta is doing and did tonight that has kind of allowed him to do this?
I mean, you look at a guy like Neemias Queta. I mean, clearly he's on a two-way contract with Maine and in Boston. So the guy's gonna give you everything he has when he gets on the floor. But for Queta, I really think taking the next step for him, we kind of saw him do that a bit tonight. I think we saw him a lot with movement off the ball, whether that's on the defensive end or the offensive side of things. When Holiday and White are commanding the offense, they're up top of the key. It's what is Queta doing? Is he just down low standing there? And the answer tonight was no. He was moving around, making cuts, going for lobs. And I told you guys this a little bit in the group chat earlier. I don't think Scal or Drew were a fan of this, but he reminded me a little bit of Rob Williams. I mean, he can get up there. He can jump with the best of them. He can throw it down. We saw him block. I think he had 2 blocks tonight, right? You said 2?
Yep.
2 blocks tonight. He had that sort of like pin down block at the end. I'm not sure if that was exactly off the glass, but he got up there. And I just think overall, I think we're going to see a lot more Neemias Queta. And obviously I'm happy Porzingis is coming back soon, but I'm glad Queta's getting a chance because I have always been kind of a believer in Queta.
The Robert Williams comparison is an interesting one, and I think it's very fair. He's an athletic, tall, big that plays the dunker spot and protects the rim. Yeah. It's very clear that Boston's a better team right now with Queta in the game, and I do think there are some advantages that he presents that Kornet doesn't. Brendon. So for you, when you look at Kornet and you look at Queta, is it safe to say that for the foreseeable future, until Porzingis comes back, and even when Porzingis is back, that Queta is going to be the guy the Celtics lean to off the bench?
I think Queta stands out the most to me right now. I think just tonight was a good example of what a big should be doing. Didn't see any passing, just all defensive rebounding and offensive rebounding and rim protection. That's what you need to have a big guy like him. I mean, obviously you need him to do it all, but when you're doing your job like that, that's just what you need to see out of a player, which is good.
Yeah, I think that for me, he gets the nod. Without a doubt, he gets the nod. I have not liked what I've seen from Kornet. I've liked what I've seen from Tillman when they've used him at the 4, and I think they need to go back to that because tonight I think Tillman would have provided you with some good defensive flexibility on the switch with Curry and Hield, and I think Boston kind of dropped the ball there defensively in the second half. A couple of defensive lapses there at the end of the game with obviously Curry going back door, then Curry slipping open to get 3. An open 3 with White and Tatum, and then obviously that last play of the game that kind of was the nail in the coffin. Again, was a Jason Tatum lapse on defense that led to an open Buddy Hield 3 to extend the Warriors' lead to 7. Guys, now we talk about Jason Tatum, and it feels only right that this post-game show we dive into this matchup because Jason Tatum tonight it was a meaningful one for Celtics fans. A little not so much maybe Jason Tatum. Obviously, we saw the pregame quotes from Steve Kerr and this and that. Tatum got off to a slow start in the first half, only scoring 8 points. He eventually exploded for 32 in what was a much more efficient Jason Tatum second half, a 17-point third quarter. Randy or guys, really whoever wants to jump in here, kind of open convo. When you look at this and you see how he played, what did you expected? Because personally speaking, I kind of stopped caring the second the first quarter ended.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it's crazy. It's actually crazy. We're sitting here right now. Tatum just had 32, 4 and 2, right? And we're sitting here criticizing the living lights out of him. But you look at the game today, and it's like if Tatum even had half of what he's had, the last 6 games, he could have had a 50 ball. And it's crazy because, still sitting at 32. In the first half, he had 8 points. And I'm not exactly even sure what happened. I don't even think he took that many shots in the first half. I don't think that he was, shooting particularly well, but he was not the primary playmaker, I don't think, in the first half, which is crazy for a superstar like him.
That's a great point because, Tatum tonight played very within the offense, like almost too within the offense. And that's not a bad thing necessarily. But I think in that third quarter, he got going, right? And this was perfect. It was beautiful. He got going because he got 2 wide open catch and look threes, right? He got going. He started feeling himself. Boom. From there on out, I thought it should have been all Jason Tatum. And it kind of was. But for that first half, you're absolutely right. I think he only took 6 shots in the first half. He was very passive. He was very laid back. It was the Jason Tatum we saw in the playoffs. And I say that because play style, right? I'm not saying he wasn't making shots and this and that. It's not a criticism. But what it is saying is that, in the playoffs, Tatum was very relaxed. He was very laid back, and he was not forcing anything. He was letting the game come to him. Tonight, he did that, and I think it hurt Boston in the first half because I think tonight, especially when Brown and Porzingis and you're down some guys, I think tonight you needed to lean on Tatum a little bit more. We saw Walsh get some run. We saw some weird lineups with Hauser and the bench guys, and it was just a funky night with lineup-wise for the Celtics against the Warriors team that, mind you, is very competitive right now. And, I would have liked to see Tatum kind of say, like, okay, let me get going. And obviously they need to make some halftime adjustments, Brendon. And I want to talk to you about this, guys, is that screen trap that we saw the Celtics struggle with in the first half. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Didn't like it at all. That's for sure. That's all I can really say. But yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at it was weird because like when we were getting out of the trap, I was talking a lot about this. We were getting 4-on-3s and wide open shots, even if we weren't hitting them. We were getting 4-on-3s, and then we either get the wide open 3 or we work it in down low. It's a 2-on-1, something like that. But on the other side of this argument, when they weren't, it was very slow. Like Tatum would get the double, and instead of immediately, like in games prior, I'd be all over you telling you, oh, Tatum eyes in the back of his head. He knows exactly where to go. Unlike that, today, it was like dribble, 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 get trapped, don't know what to do, dribble, 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 then try and huck it, fading towards half court and try and find. It was much slower, if you know what I mean? Like it was just they didn't know exactly what to do when that double came up at the 3-point line or anywhere up in the front court.
They fixed it. They definitely fixed it in the second half because it was much better. And you saw the offense take off in the second half. Only scoring 41 in that first half, I believe, and then finishing the game with 112. So was that 61 second half points, 71 second? I'm no math. I'm not a math guy. I'm basketball.
We're like a 40-point first quarter team, and now all of a sudden tonight we were like 40 in the first half. That's like
right. And it was no doubt the defense. Credit to Golden State. They came out with a very strong defensive plan, stopping 100%. That high pick and roll that Jason Tatum has absolutely feasted on all season.
Dominated.
And Boston figured out a way to fix that with a double screen. They would send 2, and the back guy would pin down so they fixed it. However, as for I don't know. I think again, it's like this game. Does it tell me anything about Boston? No, it doesn't. Does it tell me anything about Golden State? Quite frankly, it doesn't. It tells me that, okay, awesome, Golden State can compete with a Celtics team that is without Kristaps and without Jaylen Brown on the road. Sure, maybe that's something. But to me, it's like tonight, I think Celtics fans, you obviously want to win at home. And I think that's what sucks most about this loss is that you didn't win at home. You dropped your first game. Last season, you won 20 straight at home, and then you lost to Denver. This year, you only win the first two. So, definitely disappointing, but that's kind of what should be expected, I think, in these first 40 games with Boston. I think there are going to be guys in and out of the lineup with Porzingis hurt and Brown obviously missing his third straight game. I think that maybe it's not this like 68 win team that we saw that last year, right? Not saying they can't get better, but when your guys are in and out of the lineup, it's tough. It's tough to go next guy up on the fly, especially against teams like this. So they dropped one tonight in a game that to me was weird in the first half. But I don't know. I'm not too worried about it. But again, let's dive into some of these players. Pritchard, obviously, again, putting up points, right? But not necessarily efficient tonight. But it feels like he's defensively, guys, taking this leap that is unexpected. And, Randy, when you look at Pritchard and, we talk about him so much on how good he has been offensively in those last second shots that are momentum swings, but it feels like he's kind of putting all of the tools, together, and it is kind of finally, becoming an elite top of the line six man in this NBA, in the league, really.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you saw, but you probably did, but Pritchard now leads the way in 6 man of the year.
Yes,
voting.
yeah, I saw that betting odds.
Still early, but good sign for Pritchard. You were saying it's great. We're seeing him huck these shots up at halftime or at the buzz or whatever. But for him to make that leap this year, I think it's coming because he's getting the opportunity. I think that's really what it comes down to. Is instead of him getting 6 to 10 minutes a game, he's getting 15, 20 minutes a game. And he's using his minutes. I mean, he's utilizing his minutes, to his advantage. He's getting downhill. He's getting 2-on-1s. He's playing the lob. He's playing the pick and roll, and then obviously he can create his own shot, which is a huge thing for being a star in the NBA.
We talk about where are those points going to come with the Kristaps absence, right? I mean, that's about 20 points per game you're missing through the first 40 games. They're coming from Pritchard. He's given you those points off the bench. He's averaging 16 this year in most efficient numbers, right? Mostly efficient numbers. So I do like offensively what I'm seeing for Pritchard. And I think defensively has been the thing that has surprised me the most tonight. 100%. I thought he did a phenomenal job off ball on Steph Curry when, that was his assignment.
He was like face guarding.
Right. Which is not tough. I mean, it's not easy to chase around Steph Curry for 48 minutes. And, when he was called on, he did it. And, we saw it against Indiana when he started picking up Tyrese Halliburton full court and put some pressure on him. So, Brendon, for me, it's like defensively has been Peyton Pritchard's, I think, most impressive start to the year. What do you think it is?
I think it's just a mix, obviously, of just his like consistency and efficiency. Like tonight, you just said too, we didn't see much of it because of White and Tatum, and then obviously Kata's night. But yeah, I mean, to keep his like spark up, like I always say, it's gotta be like offense mostly, but then his defense is not like so much effective from my standpoint. But like when we need it, he like comes up in the clutch though for sure. Like he always just finds that spark.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He was big time for the C's tonight. I don't know. The question is how sustainable does this need to be? Because Pritchard, if he does this when you get Porzingis back, you think to yourself, "Oh wow, that's a lot of offensive firepower." Yeah. So the question that I'm kind of thinking right now in the back of my head is how much of this is just, shots that need to get up, right? You figure it's math, right? When you take away 18 shots, those shots go somewhere, and they've gone to Peyton Pritchard with his minutes increasing. So it'll be interesting to see how it changes for Peyton Pritchard this year as the year progresses, because again, we're only 9 games in. So, for me, I would be kind of shocked to see these numbers continue when Porzingis comes back. 16 a game that's no joke, right? That's legit. Those are some legit numbers, especially on this deep of a team. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And obviously Jaylen Brown here, guys. I want to talk about JB because he's missed his third game. And last post-game show, we talked about it. Are we at all concerned a little bit about this hip injury? There were rumors that it maybe started from his underwater training and this and that in the off season. I don't know. What were
I
you
brought
guys
that
at?
up. Yeah, I was saying that like when he was trying to build his like muscle mass in the summer workouts too. We haven't heard much of like what's been going on of that since I think Monday it was. They were trying to talk, or actually no, it was the Charlotte series that they were saying that they're gonna have like a second hour MRI on him. But yeah, we haven't had like much updates from that. So I still wouldn't worry about it. I mean, maybe give like another week or so. I'm not a doctor, obviously, but it's like at the same time, yeah. I mean, if we don't hear anything new from a while, then it could be something that we need to maybe rest him for week to week. But yeah, I mean, we're just taking it day by day right now, it seems. But I'm not worried from JB. I think but like we were saying too, don't send your guys on the floor if you're not 100%. But I think I'm hoping he's pushing for a huge comeback. So
yeah, right now I think it's mostly I'm guessing probably precautionary.
Right.
JT and JB, they're so cautious with how they treat their bodies. They're trained. I have no doubt that JB and whoever's working with them, athletic training and his whole athletic staff over there, they're probably giving him the best treatment possible to get him back on the floor as soon as possible because he is second, if not best, or most reliable player in our team. So it's going to be tough to have him or to be without him down the stretch. But right now, I'm hoping at least it's just precautionary. Maybe another game or two just to make sure he's all good for the long term.
I think this is showing how valuable Jaylen Brown is to the Celtics. A lot of what the Celtics do revolves around the firepower which Jaylen Brown brings defensively, offensively. He's a key piece to what the Celtics built and are trying to continue to build. As for how long he's going to be out, I have no clue. We haven't heard anything. They've gone day by day with this. I think the Celtics should play it safe and need to play it safe because you don't want to risk anything. I'm okay with dropping a couple games in November and maybe early December if it means Jaylen Brown's ready to go for the second half of the year. And I'm not saying he's going to be out the whole time, right? But what I'm saying is that keep him healthy. You don't want this to be a reoccurring thing, that pops up in January and there it is again in February. Right? It's just annoying. And you want Jaylen Brown and you want your best players and you want all your players playing at 100%. The Celtics, I do think, are kind of a little bit thinner maybe than we might have originally thought at the forward position. Obviously Jordan Walsh and Sam Hauser got some run tonight. Hauser didn't look terrible. Walsh didn't get too much burn. When he was out there, he was kind of a spacer. He was a cutter and he was just kind of playing some good off ball stellar defense. So it'll be interesting to see. But for me, that's where I'm at with Jaylen Brown because obviously you want him out there. You want to watch him play, but at the same time, if you're the Celtics and Celtics fans, you got to be thinking, all right, let's just, slow our roll, make sure he's 100%, make sure he's under 10% so that when he does get out there, we don't have to worry about this thing again.
Yeah. I mean, what I think we really need to avoid is Jaylen Brown kind of going out there and turning into like a Joel Embiid, like laboring around, just looking like not himself, and then he's back on the injury report in a couple games. That can't happen. That is the complete opposite that needs to happen. We need precautionary, keep him out until he's full, and then let him ease his way back in. Maybe limited reps in some games, whatever. But we can't have him laboring out there and then back on the bench in a game or two. That's not what we can have.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's a little shocking the start of the year. Honestly, 7-2, second seed. I think the expectations were a little bit higher. I myself said that I fully expected the Celtics to come out and rip off like the first 15 games, only dropping one of them. They dropped to 7-2 tonight, and injuries are the concern right now, and keeping guys healthy and keeping guys in the lineup. And I think that's going to be the concern all year, even when this team is healthy, is can they stay healthy? So it's something to monitor. It's something to keep an eye on, and it will continue to pop up over the course of 82 games. You had Hauser miss some time with the Porzingis injury, and now you got Jaylen Brown stacking on top of that. So it is definitely something to watch out for, because again, what's one thing, really the only thing that could prevent the Celtics from raising banner 19 is injuries and not having that full lineup that we know is so talented and so good. With that being said, guys, the Celtics, they're playing November 8th against the Brooklyn Nets here. This one is going to be a good chance just to get your footing and get right back into the win column. What are some keys you guys think entering this Brooklyn series?
Yeah, I mean,
game, not series.
It's interesting because Brooklyn is what, third right now. They're playing good basketball. They got some young talent over there. We know Ben Simmons struggled his career. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Cam Thomas. They have some young talent. They got some shooters over there. I think it's going to be a good chance. This is kind of a hot take, but I want to see more out of Jordan Walsh. I mean, I think in the minutes we've seen so far, I don't think he's done anything bad, but I just don't think he's done anything good. He's kind of just flatline. Like he's just playing. He's running cardio, like you said, off ball. He's fine. But I'd like to see, like today, he kind of looked scared. Like he had some open shots, maybe a driving lane, and instead he just passes it back to Tatum, which is fine. Obviously you trust Tatum, but I just want to see what Jordan Walsh has, and I feel like up to this point, at least in the regular season, I haven't seen much out of him in the minutes he's got.
Yeah, this was a team that we were kind of expecting to kind of be like very low in the rankings. I that's just my opinion, but I'm sure you guys probably agree though. No, but I mean this is a team that's going to rise. I think definitely too. I mean they just ended up getting like a bunch of draft picks from the New York trade when they traded Mikal Bridges this past off season, so their team's going to probably get growing. But yeah, I mean I think it should be. I don't want to like jump to the gun though. I think it should be a hopefully an easy game for us. We're still shorthanded, so that could go one or two ways. But there's some players we got to watch out for in guard, especially Dennis Schroeder has been heating up a little bit too with them, getting used to them, and Cam Thomas is always a threat. So it's going to be probably the backcourt to watch out for the most is what I'm looking forward to.
Schroeder and Thomas have been scoring at high levels to start this year, and Boston struggles with defending quick, fast guards. And what is Dennis Schroeder's kind of a slower paced guard, but Cam Thomas is a quick, fast guard that can put up buckets at a very extreme high volume. So I think you can make his shots. And Brooklyn's a team that's, listen, they're young, they're talented, right? Obviously they're nowhere near the level of the Celtics, but when you're playing a team that's young and talented, that has had a hot start to the year offensively, you can run into troubles on a night-to-night basis. So again, I think for Boston, it's just getting your footing right back in, getting back in the win column, right? Do the little things. And again, when you play teams like Brooklyn, these win by 30. Do that, because we've seen, especially with these injuries popping up, it's going to be critical to get these guys out of the lineup, right? Get them out of the fourth quarter. And I want to see that. I want to see guys like Al Horford and Jason Tatum and Derek White and Drew Holiday get their rest and give more run to the bench guys. I think that's very important. As for tonight, the Celtics, they dropped their first home game of their 2024-2025 campaign, guys, 118-112 to the Golden State Warriors. Obviously a 2022 finals rematch. I hate saying it, but it is unfortunately something we're going to have to say here for a couple more matches as the Celtics fall short of the win. Guys, Neemias Queta, tonight, he was your SeatGeek player of the game. 14 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 blocks for the big man down low for the C's. Like we were just talking about, the Celtics are back at action November 8th at 7:30 p.m. tip-off time against the Brooklyn Nets. Guys, after the final buzzer sounds there, come right back over here to the Celtics Talk Weekly YouTube channel and get ready and watch us live for Celtics Talk Weekly post-game live. Guys, from everyone here at the CTW crew, Rob, Brandon, Randy, all of us, we thank you so much for joining us tonight. Until next time,